Here's a quick podcast for all you true crime fans. The case of the missing Reeses. It was me at the store with my mouth. Motive? They're Reeses. What was I going to do? Stop myself? Tune in next time to see if I do it again. Spoiler, I will. Wow, that had everything. Reeses, suspense, Reeses.
Everyone loves an unexpected plot twist, but your education shouldn't be one of them. And nobody understands that better than Southern New Hampshire University. SNHU's online degree programs provide the flexibility you need, backed by support you can count on. With over 200 affordable options in psychology, criminal justice, business, and more, SNHU is built to fit your life and your budget. Visit snhu.edu/lastpodcast to learn more. That's snhu.edu/lastpodcast.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
So this is in South Carolina.
No, this is South Carolina. I wanted to bring this up to Marcus. Did you see this? And I just want to do this here because, again, this is our biggest microphone that we have, you know, and I wanted to spread
all over it.
You know, I did, but I did want to spread some awareness over an issue that I thought that would really pertain to you and pertain to a lot of our listeners. Okay. Have you heard about how ADHD is linked to big butts?
Yeah.
No, are you serious?
Yeah.
Really?
No. It's because they sit down too much?
No.
No, we don't. We sit down very little.
Oh, okay.
We're always out moving.
Well, maybe
Bigger
that's what
looking
it is,
butt.
picking up stuff all the time.
Yeah.
The day after Christmas, this came out. It was a study that showed that
On Boxing Day?
That autism and ADHD sometimes lends towards bigger butts.
You know why? I can actually tell you why. We drop a lot of stuff, so we're always having to bend down to pick stuff up. We're doing a lot of squats. We have to because we're very clumsy.
Exercises.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that explains it.
Yeah, sneaky sign of autism. Yeah, so I have a massive ass. Oh my God, I didn't know.
The therapist couldn't see it because you're always sitting down when you talk to him.
Well, apparently, though, no, actually, I'm rereading this wrong. It's because ADHD people sometimes have a postural issue called anterior pelvic tilt, so their butt sticks out while they walk like a duck.
Welcome to the last podcast on the left, ladies and gentlemen. My butt is exactly where it should be. Yes, it's massive. Yes, it's bubbly. Yes, it sticks out when I walk. And yes, I have posture problems. My name is Marcus Parks. I'm here with Henry Zabrowski, who's bringing the information to the people today. Thank you, Henry.
I just want to say it's really amazing all the kind of medical training I've received. I have the expertise that I get in my dreams. It's some of the most important medical information that can be disseminated right now in the year 2026.
Yes, and that is RFKKK.
And we also had the man with the plan, Ed Larson.
All right, and here's the plan. Go outside, get drunk, and yell at your sister.
Yeah!
Oh, we are in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Sister, you mean my wife? Come on, y'all. It's South Carolina.
Sorry, guys. We're just getting it up now.
Yeah, and we're here for the continuation of the story of Alex Murdaugh.
Bang, 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 bang.
So when we last left the life story of Alex Murdaugh, the year was 1999, and his wife Maggie had just given birth to their second son, Paul. This was just after the family's move to Hampton County, which had occurred against Maggie Murdaugh's wishes.
And we were all wondering what it's like to party in that year while Nellie was telling us what temperature it was in the room. 1999, a year to remember.
Well, Maggie preferred to stay in Beaufort County, which, while it was still a part of South Carolina's Low Country, it was still relatively affluent. Beaufort was where the nice restaurants were. It was close to the country club. It was a place where Maggie could spend her days gossiping with other former sorority girls who were also settling into lives of leisure with their new frat boy husbands who were just starting their new frat boy jobs. But while the Murdaugh family certainly had power across the entire Low Country and throughout South Carolina to a certain extent, their true stranglehold was on Hampton County.
Someone's got to own the mud.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't just sit there, man. Because if not, them Native Americans are going to squat on it. All right, so the key is you're going to want to put some kind of piece of paper underneath them feet, all right?
Well, Hampton was where their law firm, PMPED, had their headquarters. But almost 30% of the population in Hampton County lived below the poverty line, which made them far easier to control and far easier to manipulate. And so Alex Murdaugh moved his young family to Hampton County in the late 90s to rule in hell, and Maggie quickly began withering away into a depression over the realization that this was where she was going to spend the rest of her miserable fucking life.
Yeah, you know, what are you going to do?
You got to suck your way out. That's what my mother did. Suck your way to the middle of the world, right to Queens.
Oh, yeah. All the great people in history suck their way into Forest Hills.
Hey, Julia Roberts, Fred Trump. Forest Hill's a big place.
But Maggie's depression meant that Maggie neglected her two young children, Paul and Buster. These two little butt nuggets very quickly grew up to be terrors in their own right because they were living lives even more free of consequence than any Murdaugh man who had come before. And if you're keeping track, this is Buster number 2, named after the Buster we discussed in the first episode. This is the Buster that grew up to look like a bee-stung Archie Andrews. He's the one who inherited his father's uncanny valley skull shape in which their heads look like AI-generated potatoes infected with a crimson alien spore.
They look like mold-covered pumpkins filled with coals from hell.
I was going to say walking around Easter eggs that leave Easter eggs to their own crimes.
Buster's face is a crime. His entire head is shaped like I'd say a period blood-flavored icy cone. Yes. I hate that fuck.
No, he definitely looks like he sleeps upside down.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I hate these fucks.
Could you even find a pimple on a face that looks like a pimple?
I don't know. He's so ghastly white.
Someone will pop that fucker one day.
Now, Hampton County was indeed poor, but much of that was due to the machinations of the Murdaugh family. They'd kept Hampton isolated from the rest of the country for going on a century by this point, partly so they could maintain control, but partly due to how their law firm, PMPED, made the majority of its money. As author Valerie Bauerlein put it in her book, The Devil at His Elbow, the Murdaugh law firm was an engine that ran on suffering, specializing in personal injury and wrongful death in a place with no shortage of it. See, this is rural South Carolina, and if you've ever driven in South Carolina like we have, or a state like it, you know that infrastructure is non-existent. I have never in my life seen so many road signs hanging off of the post, missing one bolt. Like, it's everywhere in South Carolina.
Well, always remember, driving through Mississippi, one of the biggest codes I've ever seen was just seeing a highway sign down in the middle of the highway with just caution tape around it. And everyone was just driving around it like it wasn't a problem.
Well, remember, I think that South Carolina can always rest on its laurels that it's not Alabama or Mississippi.
Oh,
Yeah,
everybody
sure.
can.
Yeah,
Everybody can.
yeah.
So can places like Ukraine and Haiti, post the earthquake, many places.
Arkansas, you're on the fence.
You got to watch it though. We did like where we went.
Where? Oh, in Mississippi?
In Huntsville.
Alabama. Yes, that was fine.
Yeah, you've never been to Arkansas.
Yeah.
No.
A lot of these places, I will say, whatever you want to say about them, a lot of them do have a Publix.
That's a big deal.
True. But non-existent infrastructure went double in a county like Hampton. In Hampton County, most people drove broken-down cars on crumbling roads to dangerous low-paying jobs working in unregulated industries that did not provide insurance. So when people inevitably got hurt or killed just going about their daily lives, the Murdaugh firm, PMPED, was always quick to provide legal representation.
It's also important to note it was a very large law firm.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the Murdaughs that were making money off of the pain of the people of Hampton County.
It was not.
And there was a lot of people that very actively sought to keep their position in Hampton County. So I don't think it's just the Murdaughs that kept it that way. I think it was all them flabby-ass white boys.
Oh, the Murdaughs are just the M in PMPED. There's still a P, an E, and a D making money there. And all the associates working underneath them. Now, by the time Alex Murdaugh had set down roots in Hampton with his young family in the early 2000s, PMPED had found an extremely lucrative niche specializing in car crashes caused by defective tires manufactured by Bridgestone. Y'all probably remember this. I know I do. Yeah, when all the Ford Explorers, the tires kept exploding on the highway.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I hate driving.
Yeah. Well,
It makes me excited.
Well, these tires had a tendency to separate at high speeds, which naturally resulted in a lot of deadly accidents. But since South Carolina had lax venue laws that allowed lawsuits to be filed in any county where a corporation transacted business or owned property, Hampton County became a hub for high-value personal injury lawsuits, whether the accident happened in Hampton County or not. Usually it didn't. Because of the Murdaugh firm, the number of civil suits filed in Hampton County courts were double what any other county in South Carolina saw, and the settlements were 2 to 3 times higher because PMPED rigged the juries.
No one asked any questions either because they just assumed if you live there, you just have bad luck.
Yeah. Well, you're here.
Well, posing as defenders of the working class, the Murdaugh firm would approach the relatives of jurors who were on civil cases. They would offer to help with traffic tickets and bill collectors. They, of course, didn't come right out with a quid pro quo, but the help was certainly enough to influence decisions. Now, these are small favors in the grand scheme of things. This stuff can go straight under the radar. But making a speeding ticket go away can mean the difference between making rent that month or not in the life of a working class citizen. And it did the double duty of giving the Murdaughs a good reputation amongst the poor.
And because they had such good class regulation, they really had figured that out in this part of the world.
Oh, yeah.
What they also know is that what you could do is make anybody feel like a champion by giving them a little window into the amazing world that you have total access to as the higher class. So all you got to do is, like, if you could get them scratched off a little fucking speeding ticket, that's the whole world to them, and you might make that person help you clean up a crime scene later on. It's that easy. It means nothing.
It's the misdirect, too, to let you get away with shit. It's kind of like Julie used to work at BuzzFeed, and like when they were all told they weren't going to get health insurance, the way they told them is they gave them a froyo machine.
Yeah, I remember those. So, yeah. And in your name, and instead of giving you guys a bonus, in your name, we have given these wooden blocks that represent trees. And it's a thing, and you're like, this is horseshit. This is a fucking tax write-off.
Well, since the Murdaugh firm had helped out so many people in small ways in order to get the verdicts they wanted, the regular folk in Hampton County would defend the Murdaughs when anyone had anything bad to say about them. In other words, the Murdaughs had built a system where the poor kept each other in line for table scraps. Eventually, though, the jury tampering became unnecessary. The Murdaugh firm had such a high success rate in civil cases that corporations began to simply settle at the mere mention of PMPED, so cases stopped going to trial. But the drawback here is that without the jury tampering, the Murdaughs were no longer intervening in the lives of the poor, and local respect for the Murdaugh family amongst the hoi polloi began to shrink as the years went by.
Yeah, especially when he had Shithead 1 and Fuckface 2. The two of them came out there. Having Paul roll around is not going to help the reputation of your fucking family. That's for
Not
certain.
to mention, Alec was a fucking terror when he was Paul's age himself.
They all were, but Paul and Buster 2 finally broke the rules of all rules.
Well, they got dumber every generation, and they got worse every generation. They got less educated every generation because they just get pushed along.
Yeah, and it's not just Buster and Paul. It really is Alec.
Alec's bad. Oh, Alec's bad too.
But and as we're going to get into, like, Alec let go of the wheel. Like, every other Murdaugh before him knew that there was a balance here that you had to keep. There were certain
Gotta
illusions.
hold the line. line. Like, literally, the father's got to hold the line.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be disciplined here. You can't all be doing crimes. It's just how it goes. A true crime leader knows how to push and pull and do all the things you need to do to keep the house up.
There has to be the illusion. The illusion always must be maintained. And when the illusion falls apart, then everything falls apart.
Yeah, and liquor leads to violence, but when you start throwing all those drugs in there, man, it gets really fucked up.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the lawyers at PMPED made quite a bit of money on these cash settlements because every lawyer got a cut of up to 40% on each payout. Alex Murdaugh soon became one of PMPED's most successful attorneys, and he was making well into seven figures through legitimate means alone by the time he was made a full partner in the early 2000s. After making partner, Alex began hosting political fundraisers on his family's island, and by 2005, Alex was counseling senators and governors. By the age of 40, Alex Murdaugh was one of South Carolina's most powerful trial attorneys, a man who could turn a $100,000 case into $1 million settlement just by saying the name Murdaugh.
A defense attorney should not be allowed to hold a political fundraiser.
Sure.
And just a general rule, stated by me.
Now, Alex Murdaugh was outwardly friendly and caring towards his clients. He made them feel comfortable, made them feel like he was going to take care of everything. But in reality, Alex Murdaugh had no empathy whatsoever for these people who had been maimed, paralyzed, even killed as a result of their accidents. For Alex Murdaugh, the miseries of the poor, unfortunate souls of Hampton County were simply a resource to be mined. And because Murdaugh was a total sociopath, Hampton County became a consequence-free playground of debauchery for the entire Murdaugh family. Now, to the community at large, Alex Murdaugh appeared to be a quote-unquote good man.
This is the stuff that makes my fucking blood boil.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Southern culture stuff
Oh.
that makes me angry. All the, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Oh, let me get that for you, ma'am. All of this talk, the way that they talk to the people that work for them, their help, quote unquote, where they pretend like they're all family.
Yeah.
And it's this whole thing where it's just such a bunch of fucking hypocrites.
Yeah, they pretend you're family, and you keep them just poor enough to need you and act like they need
And do things for you that you don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, Alex Murdaugh coached his kids' sports teams. He remembered everyone's names and backstories, always asking, how's your mama doing? He generously tipped everyone with cash pulled from large stacks he kept in his SUV. And the general public, therefore, liked Alex Murdaugh well enough.
What does that sound like? It sounds like, I don't know what it is it reminds me of. There's something about a guy with a big bankroll that they all think is like, even though it's all fantasy and mirrors, that that these Southern cucks just seem to lap up like a bunch of horny dogs.
Well, that's because they're just going from fucking golf resort to golf resort, tipping out valet guys, and they're loving them.
It honestly sounds great.
Yeah.
But where Alex's forefathers knew that you had to keep the poor on your side on a constant basis if you wanted to truly hold power in the South, Alex Murdaugh treated the poor as an afterthought and focused mostly on other people in power. He figured you throw them $20 here and there, that's all you need to do. Out of everyone in the Low Country, Murdaugh was most attentive with local law enforcement, the state troopers, the police officers, the sheriff's deputies, many of whom had fathers and grandfathers who'd also worked with Alex's father and grandfather. And with the cops on his side, Alex could be reckless, driving as drunk as he wanted to drive, doing whatever drugs he wanted to do, and throwing punches whenever he felt like they needed to be thrown. Alec was also smart enough to play the game on a large scale. He became a huge contributor to whatever political party could do him the most favors, even though he was technically also the leader of the local Democrats. But no matter the party, the only way for a local sheriff, judge, representative, or even senator to get elected was to have the support of Alex Murdaugh. And so, with the public, the cops, the courts, and the legislature all on his side, the stage was set for Alex Murdaugh to become the biggest criminal the Murdaugh family had ever seen. A man who not only embezzled millions from disadvantaged clients, but who was also involved in drug smuggling, prostitution, and eventually murder most foul.
Yeah, baby, you know what we like.
Dude, imagine if John Wayne Gacy came from the Murdaugh family.
I mean, he'd be probably be the funniest one.
Now, Alex Murdaugh had moved to Hampton County because that's where the Murdaugh name held the most power. And by 2005, Alec and his good old boy friends came to realize that they had built a world where nobody was asking questions anymore. In fact, most people didn't even know to ask questions.
How did we get there? I wanted no one to ask questions of me. Did I go untouched and unfettered in my crimes?
Unfortunately, you entered entertainment in a world where there's nothing but questions.
Oh, no!
And so, after years of working personal injury cases for PMPED, specializing in cases that sued corporations on behalf of the so-called little guy, Alec came up with a stupidly simple scheme in which he skimmed cash from his client settlements on top of his already generous 40% cut.
It's important to remember, the scam itself is the dumbest shit you could possibly imagine.
You already get 40%.
He just
which
takes
is a
the money.
cruel amount.
All he has to do is lie to people, don't know what's going on.
Well, let me get into it. But yeah, it is. Yes, 40% is already an incredibly cruel amount.
Yeah.
But after enlisting his college roommate, Corey Fleming, and a local banker named Russell Lafitte as accomplices, I mean, I've never heard...
It's a pirate name. It's a pirate name. We all know G. Lafitte. Lafitte is a pirate name.
And when he shows up and he's like, I'll take it into blue. Like, you know, like the man coming like, we ain't got time for your sea-based shenanigans right now,
All right, Lafitte. All right, Captain of the Dark Shadow. Okay, I need you to help me right now on this land-based crime.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be selling jellyfish.
And the best part is you can scam them on the peanut butter afterwards.
Yarr, there's no Glass-Steagall on the high seas.
Hey, now, I need you to stop spreading our secret plan here in your loud, powered voice.
Well, after enlisting those two men as accomplices, Alex Murdaugh just started lying to his clients about the size of their settlements. If a client got a $2 million settlement from Bridgestone because they'd been paralyzed after the tires on their car exploded on the highway, for example, Murdaugh would tell his clients, no, you didn't get $2 million. You got 1.7.
Yeah.
Well, it's all the, you know how it is with the red tape and what you got. You know how it, I wish it was more. I wish it was.
I wish.
You see one number and you think it's going to be that number, but never that number. It's a smaller number.
These are people who have never seen $10,000.
No. Oh, God, no.
So 1.7 million, like, they're like, great. Thank fucking God. I can live forever on this.
And
when
then
truth be told, no, you can't.
And then he's paying them out in installments in which he can do whatever he wants with the rest of the money. And they have no idea exactly because they've never seen $10,000 before.
Yeah.
So they get one $10,000 check and they're like, we're rich.
Yeah, and that $2 million check was deposited at Russell Lafitte's bank because Russell was also acting as a sort of middleman between Alec and his clients.
Yar, come down. Give me your fine shells and jewels. We'll place them here down here, TV towards his locker. I'm sorry. This is more just sort of our management style here at Lafitte's. I'm sorry to scare you with my native accent.
If you want G Gold, you can follow this map to the X.
It's over here. It's on the court of 8th and Bellevue. It's at that section. There's an ATM there.
I'm sorry, I'll be out next week. I'm going to our brunch in the West Indies.
My cousin's having a bar mitzvah. Yar, we're Jewish.
How much for ye daughter?
Well, Lafitte was the guy.
How ugly a Murdaugh daughter would have been. Let's continue.
Yeah, what happened? There was never any female Murdaughs, ever.
You know why? It would have canceled itself out.
Yeah,
that baby would have fucking committed suicide the second it saw its own dough-colored body.
Well, Lafitte was the guy who took care of the so-called complicated stuff. He was the one who said, like, no. These legal bills, you don't even need to see them. They're too complicated. They're so complicated. I'm the guy. I got to take care of that stuff. You got to get better. You got to get well. That's what you got to do. You got to focus on your health.
And
I'm going to take care of it.
How's your mama? Is she doing good? And blah, blah, blah. Oh,
exactly. And of course, those legal bills were all extremely exaggerated because Alex Murdaugh was also lying about, say, like experts that he'd have to hire. He's like, I had to hire a forensic expert.
And he costs X amount.
Yeah, he costs X amount. Never hired anybody. The point was, the client clients were never in contact with the company itself, and they never saw the original check. So when the $2 million check came in, the clients had no idea that Alec was putting the extra $300,000 in his pocket, with, of course, a little bit of a vig to Russell Laffitte and Corey Fleming. But because nobody was looking and nobody was asking questions, Alex Murdaugh ran this scheme for over 15 years.
Yeah, dude.
And stole somewhere in the neighborhood of $11 million from needy clients. And you think like, okay, yeah, it's 1 point. He's taken, a little bit off at 1.7 million. That's the thing though. These medical bills that these people had to pay were incredibly massive. They're huge because they didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
And sometimes because Alex Murdaugh stole their money, these people would die because the leftovers Alec gave them weren't enough to give them the care that they needed. They'd be put in cut-rate nursing homes. And there was this one kid, he was a basketball star, got paralyzed. His ventilator was just turned off because he was in a shitty nursing home and he died.
Yeah, and I think that people should remember that if you're locked up with Alex Murdaugh and you lost a family member.
But I think it's important to note here, we talk about escalation and where do these crimes come from, right? Like where do this stuff come from? And you can already see in just that his flat affect, right? The fact that these are people that are truly his constituents. These are the people that grew up around his family. These are really a collection of a lot of people that are probably some of his extended family members and all these people they knew, people that they grew up with, that they were all in this. And he could look at them and lie so easily to their face for 15 years.
Yeah.
Shows you that, then that's 15 years of a scam. That gets fucking thick.
I mean, $11 million, man. All you got to do is give 10 grand to the high school football team, and everyone thinks you're a fucking hero.
That's what he did.
That's exactly what he did. That's how, they would constantly give money to the local high school, which of course also kept Paul and Buster out of trouble to a certain extent, to a certain point. But that's how Alec used to always get out of trouble. Just give a little bit of money, but it's by the time Paul and Buster get up there, that act is starting to wear thin.
Yeah, well, Paul, obviously, if you look at his face, I'm going to go ahead and call it fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah, he's got those little wolf eyes.
Now, instead of paying for his clients' insane medical expenses, Alec used the settlements to pay for expensive hunting trips for the whole family, endless shopping sprees in Charleston for Maggie, and custom sports coats with monogrammed cummerbunds for Alec and his tubby sons.
It's just
Did you ever have a cummerbund? You seem like a cummerbund guy.
No, we never had money.
I want one for
cummerbund. For prom, I think I did. No, I never do big bands across the belly. Because I already am. I'm not going to just be Dr. Robotnik. I want to be cast as Dr. Robotnik. I would like to be, I'd like to have to be a job or role I portray.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cum usually goes in Henry's belly, not
the old-fashioned way.
Well, where every generation of previous Murdaughs had been discreet with their money because they knew how precarious the balance of power really was. You don't show your ass too often. Alec was putting on constant, large, public displays of wealth and grandeur, and that did not go unnoticed by the community. Then, in 2005, another decision was made that brought Alex Murdaugh standing in the public eye down even further. The same year that Alec began stealing from his clients, his father, Randy Murdaugh III, was planning to retire as 14th Judicial Circuit Solicitor. Now, someone in Alec's family line had held this job for the past 85 years, and Alec had supposedly wanted the job since he was a child. But when it came time to hand-pick a successor, Randy Murdaugh III instead went with his assistant solicitor, Duffy Stone.
Yeah.
Or so the story goes. See, it's important to note that it's also said that the solicitor job could have been Alex Murdaugh's if he really wanted it. But in order to get that job, Murdaugh would have had to give up his position at PMPED because the laws had changed since his granddaddy's day. Alec, however, had just figured out how to make more money than he knew what to do with using his skimming scheme. And I think it's far more likely that Alex Murdaugh enjoyed going on expensive hunting trips with his dipshit sons a hell of a lot more than he liked prosecuting murders. Because prosecuting murders is hard.
It's hard.
And it don't make money.
No, it does not. Either way, Alex Murdaugh stepped aside from the solicitor job in 2005, and even though he was still given a volunteer solicitor's badge that he could flash whenever a cop pulled him over for driving drunk, the Murdaughs were out of the prosecution game in South Carolina for the first time in almost a century.
You want to know what my other theory is?
What's that?
He knows that if he steps down from PMPED, all of his crimes are going to come to light as well.
Maybe.
It's very, very possible that he's sitting on top of the only reason why, much like our beloved president, the most reason why he is even being able to be outside of all the crime is because he's holding on to all of the evidence.
Yeah.
It's all in his little belly. It's like right here. And he knows that if he leaves it for a second, someone's going to go digging around.
That's very possible.
And it's not like you don't know Duffy Stone really, really well.
Oh, no, it was definitely a contingent thing of like, if you don't take care of us, we're going to replace you.
Yeah.
Like, it was still, like, Randy still had his hand on the wheel. Like, Duffy was a figurehead at best.
And Randy was really very smart, but they flipped the story. I was listening to the Netflix documentary series in the second season, and Paul's girlfriend, now that he's dead, his ex-girlfriend, she said that they flipped the story, that the father, Randy, he had written the obituary about the wife to keep her in. Right?
Yeah.
They flipped the story. They cut all of the stuff about him being addicted to prostitutes for some reason. I wonder why.
Well, I think, I remember the girlfriend saying that. That story was, she said that Maggie had told her that story.
Flipped the story. Yeah.
I
think
definitely,
Maggie flipped it.
I think Maggie flipped it, or the girlfriend was remembering it wrong.
Who knows?
Yeah, and I don't know if that really goes in an obituary.
My pappy, my pappy loved to smile, which is why he loved hookers. Yeah. Why be honest? He loved hookers. He liked hookers more than your family. You know why? Because hookers are fun. All these kids are just fucking made another crime to pin on the family.
Yeah, that is true.
What's fun is like all these Murdaughs that passed away, they all have obituaries. You can go and read and just laugh and have a nice time. And
we talked about Mike submitted a packet for Paul's obituary. Right? Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what they used on that.
Live from your grave.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that helps you stand out online. Yes, that's right. You don't have to smash your face with a hammer. You can just start a business. It's got everything you need on Squarespace, from securing your domain to building a professional site and showcasing your work all in one place. Let's say you want to show everybody how you can carve your ribs out of your lower abdomen so that you look more like a Ken doll. That's amazing. You can bring your vision to life with AI-powered design or curated templates, plus flexible editing tools that helps you create something that truly reflects your style, especially if you are somebody that is trying to corrupt the young men of America. That's what Squarespace is really going to help you. Squarespace makes it easy. It makes it easy for you to put all that together, and you just go to Squarespace and do it all. Thanks, Braden. Head to squarespace.com/left for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code LEFT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Summer means freedom. And for adults, summer means work next to freedom. But thanks to Mint Mobile's summer sale, it can almost feel like the work is playtime for the adults. Right now, all of Mint's plans are $15 per month, even unlimited. Free yourself from big wireless and switch to Mint Mobile for high-speed data and coverage on the T-Mobile 5G network. It's so well connected, I could call from anywhere. Deep from well within my bunker, where my AI-fueled robots slowly but surely toil for me, but I know for a fact I'm saving money on my phone plan. Or up above, where I'm training all of my giant Amazon female warriors who will fight in bulletproof mesh. Also, honestly, Mint Mobile's really cheap and it's really reliable, so you should use it. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's mintmobile.com/LPOTL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 per 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabyte hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. If I think about where we were 20 years ago, and I think what we would use to protect our space, it would mostly involve bayonets, weed whackers, and assorted diesel-fueled dune buggies that we'd use to spread pollution so thick it kept the other improv comedians from stealing our material. But now, Simply Safe has made all that so much easier. Using Simply Safe here at the office has revolutionized our ability to use diesel-powered dune buggies for good, and not for chaos. Think about what your home security system does as an intruder approaches your house. Sits, waits. Not much. Just waits until the window breaks, and then it goes, oh no. But then you get some kind of alarm and a notification. What if the whole point was to stop the chain events before it even happened? Unlike traditional security systems that'll only alert you after a break-in is already underway, Simply Safe is designed to help stop intruders before they get inside. It goes into their mind and makes them think of why they're doing this. I remember when we didn't have real security and all the podcasters were outside begging for our takes. Begging and scratching like a bunch of weasels. Now I can see them 25 feet away, and I can spray them with fire extinguisher liquid and stink gas. Not that it would make them smell any worse than they already did. Simply Safe helps me lord over them all. Simply Safe has been protecting your world for 20 years. Celebrate their anniversary with us and save 60% on your new Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/LPOTL. That's 60% off at simplysafe.com/LPOTL. Plus, when you order, write in our show name in the How'd You Hear About Us survey in order to let them know we sent you. Don't forget, there's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now, it was around the time that Alex Murdaugh stepped away from the solicitor position that it became apparent that Alex's sons, Buster and Paul, were going to be problems with a capital P. They were still children in the mid-2000s, but friends and family could already see that Paul Murdaugh especially had a vicious temper that could be unleashed at any provocation, especially when it came to authority figures. Once, when Paul was still just a small child, he threatened their housekeeper and nanny, Gloria Satterfield, with a kitchen knife, saying, quote,
"What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it?"
Yeah, it's fucking a child. I think he's like 5 or 6, waving a kitchen knife. And Gloria, who basically raised the boys after Maggie checked out, also routinely saw Paul kill frogs, squirrels, and lizards with glee when he was just out of diapers. But, I mean, you killed him, but not with glee.
I mean, I tied him to bottle rockets.
Yeah.
Like, had a good time doing it. Lizards and frogs, never a mammal.
Never a mammal.
Never
yeah, that's the thing. Once you move on to mammals, that's different.
I'm not saying it's good.
It's not.
I'm just making a confession that I'm similar to this tiny little killer.
No, Edward, I will join you, and I will also, yes, make the confession. I also killed frogs.
But there's a distinct difference because it didn't go on to more violence.
Yes.
Paul was going to show later on he'd be very prone to violence and really would mete it out at a very young age to any woman that was around him.
Mm-hmm. But even though Gloria was doing her best to keep a lid on the 5th generation of Murdaughs, Maggie, who hated Hampton County with all of her heart, was constantly telling her sons that they were better than everybody else because they were Murdaughs, explicitly saying that the same rules that applied to others did not apply to them, telling them this from the time they were small children.
Makes them polite.
Now, since Maggie was bored and miserable, she also used her children as entertainment. Both Paul and Buster had filthy mouths as children, very fond of the word motherfucker, which Maggie found hilarious. When Maggie enrolled them in a preschool group to try to socialize them, the two ran rough over every other kid, playing violently and calling everyone motherfuckers while Maggie laughed and laughed.
Maggie realizes that she's the mother.
Yeah, but it just made her think think of Alec.
And so the Murdaugh boys grew up in a world that was not only without consequence, but a world where bad behavior was encouraged and rewarded.
She just thought she is the epitome of what I have heard on the internet as termed as a boy mom.
Yes.
As an evil boy mom.
Yeah.
Where the boys could literally murder.
Yeah.
And she would love them more than ever.
The boys just being boys.
Yep.
You know, you gotta, yeah. I've seen this. I saw this so much in the South. Just a fucking absolute terror of a child, and the mother just laughing and laughing. And
My mom
else
hates women. My mom actively dislikes and distrusts women.
I was always told that if I got into a fight, it was totally okay and I wouldn't get in trouble if I didn't throw the first punch.
You too, but that's not a bad idea. You had a tough father.
Yeah.
Yeah. But perhaps the worst thing Alec and Maggie Murdaugh did when it came to fucking up their sons was how they treated alcohol. See, when Paul and Buster became teenagers, Alec and Maggie just integrated their kids into their extremely drunken social lives. Paul, as young as 13, would drunkenly pick fights with grown men during public parties that his family threw on the sandbars of the Beaufort River. And while a lot of us in the South drank at a young age, I think I had my first drink at 11 or 12, we usually didn't do so with beer taken from the family cooler at our parents' insistence.
It's too much. It's too much of this idea that we're all just equals and fun and hanging out when it's like, no, they're
kids got to learn how to drink. That's the thing, is that you don't teach your kid how to drink, ain't going to know how to drink.
That's not true. I learned. Everybody learns.
Yeah.
It's real easy to get alcohol. And you can
In
learn.
America?
It's
Yeah.
just easy to learn. I didn't need my father. My father was wrong at it. I'm way better at it than my dad was.
I will say, as horrible as this is, I imagine that these parties were filled with like judges.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I can just picture a redheaded, drunken 13-year-old picking a fight with a judge.
That's amazing.
And he just has to like take it.
Yeah.
Which I do find to be funny.
Yes. Yes.
Objectively, that's
yes.
funny. That is
Yes.
funny. Well, Alec
Look,
and...
shut your son up. Your son was saying nasty stuff.
Son, go over there and slap that judge's penis. Come on now. Come on. Slap his penis. Pull your penis out. My boy gonna slap it.
What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? You learned it from.
Well, Alec and Maggie Murdaugh were the so-called cool parents. Alec would give liquor to kids during holidays at his law firm's offices, and both he and Maggie would routinely get Paul and Buster's friends drunk at the parties they threw. Now, it was obvious at these parties very early on that Paul Murdaugh was what you'd call a bad drunk. Whenever Paul got intoxicated, which was incredibly often, as we can see from both his and his own mother's social media, his behavior would turn strange and unpredictable.
Yeah, he would massively overdrink. Her whole account was just, her Facebook account was just pictures of Paul underage drinking, everyone liking the pictures. It's just this
Him posing with like a bunch of Jell-O shots.
yeah, and it's just like I just don't find it cute.
No.
I don't care about the drinking. I don't care about the drinking. The idea of your mother being involved in your own drinking is such a lame idea. Could you imagine wanting to be anywhere near your parents partying? How lame and pussy and just hacky life choices.
Yeah.
It is upsetting.
Yeah.
It is upsetting. I hate people that I don't hate people that drink around their kids, but
No,
it
it's
ain't
great. I drink around all these other people's kids.
Yeah, well, they're not your kids.
Yeah, they're not your kids.
Yeah.
And it's about like a beer here and there, whatever. But these people are getting fucking hammered. Once Jell-O shots are involved, once these weird oyster shots are involved, it's kind of fucking weird.
Also, like, if you're getting a 14-year-old into shooters, next thing you know, they're working on Epstein's Island. You know what I mean? You can't have a 14-year-old do oyster shooters. Okay? It's too advanced.
The South is a very different place.
Oh, I know.
It's yeah. I grew up in an environment fairly similar to this.
No, I understand. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to even throw judgment.
Yeah.
It's just I was told as a little because my father used to go to have fun away from our family.
Oh, no.
Because he couldn't have fun at home. So then when he'd come and be scary, that was my mom taught me fun was scary. You shouldn't have fun because fun is being scary.
But that's the thing. What you didn't know is that Dad can be scary anytime.
Oh, yeah,
like, you didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know that. Like, that's the thing, you didn't know that you didn't have to wait for dad. Like, that's the thing. If dad parties around you all the time, dad can be scary anytime.
Yeah, but the thing is that dad didn't understand. Dad was super fun when he was partying.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, and if everyone's blackout drunk, no one remembers dad being super scary.
No,
Yeah, except for the kids.
Mm-hmm. It haunts them.
Well, when Paul Murdaugh would become drunk, when he would get intoxicated, his eyes would become wide, unblinking, and black, and his fingers would spread out as if they were stuck. Now, it seems like no one's willing to admit this because everyone's like, oh, we don't know why we called him this.
We know why they called him fucking Timmy.
The finger thing is definitely where the nickname Timmy came from.
Yes, they're making fun of the mentally challenged character.
Yes. When Paul's fingers splayed out during intoxication, they very much look like the way that the mentally challenged character Timmy on South Park would hold his hands, which is also how teenagers or, say, presidents hold their hands when they're making fun of disabled people. So, when Paul Murdaugh got dangerously drunk and he lost all control of his body, mind, and soul, his friends would laugh it off by saying that Timmy had arrived, even when the drunkenness turned violent, which it often did.
And I know every one of us has experienced a guy just like this.
God, yes.
Yeah. Every coming up, we all experienced that because now you could say it, that absolute royal pain in the ass.
Yeah, the monster.
Yes, that would use
You
alcohol.
change your friend's name.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a friend we would call Max every time we got super hammered.
And
he's now sober.
And it was this funny thing, because guess what happens? They either become sober or bad things happen.
Or they die.
Pretty much across the board, bad things happen to people that are like this.
Yeah.
And he is it's just an example of just the worst little fuck
Also,
to exist.
I gotta say, I'm gonna go ahead and think that cocaine's involved because when the hands start getting all crazy, that's like a
No,
coke
these boys couldn't do. I legitimately think what they were doing is what teenagers do, which is drinking an absolutely ungodly amount of liquor.
They're right by the water.
They were doing that, but the thing is that Paul was diagnosed as ADHD. Maybe he had a big butt. I don't know, but
Dig 'em up.
Let's look at the corpse. Dig him up. Pull up the crime scene photos.
pull up the photo where they put the phone back on his butt. Let's see. Let's see.
He must have been real nervous if you're looking at that butt.
He was prescribed Adderall, and he, of course, abused the Adderall. So he wasn't doing coke, but he was definitely taking much more Adderall than he should in order to drink as much as possible.
He
in order
also
to drink a lot more.
Slapped the shit out of his girlfriend a bunch.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, Paul was he slapped his previous girlfriend too.
I'm not sticking up for him.
No, if you're hitting women at the age of 15 years old, that is not a good sign.
Yes. Yeah, you probably not great upgrading.
I think it might be, it's not a good sign for the future.
Yeah, it all starts when you pull a knife on your babysitter and no one cares.
That's what Ted Bundy did.
Well, he didn't pull a knife.
Well, he
placed knives around his babysitter while she was asleep. That's a different thing altogether.
Art.
He's creative.
And that's the difference between a Ted Bundy and a Paul Murdaugh. Now, Paul was by no means the only member of the Murdaugh family with a substance abuse problem. Paul was obviously a violent alcoholic, but so was his father, Alec. Alec was said to be nice until he wasn't, a man with a legendary temper that only got worse with drink. He was quick to imagine a slight and quick to throw the first punch, but his behavior got even worse after he also became addicted to opioids. See, after a series of knee surgeries in 2002, Alec had been prescribed hydrocodone, and he found that he liked painkillers quite a bit. By 2009, Alec had switched to oxycodone, and soon became just about as bad of an oxy addict as a man with near unlimited funds and no chance of getting prosecuted by the law can get. Now, Alec claimed that the oxy energized him, but by the time his sons were teenagers, Alec was falling asleep in meetings and unable to focus on legal proceedings due to his constant oxy intake. Additionally, the oxy also gave Alex Murdaugh an insane sweet tooth. He was obsessed with Capri Suns. Always had to have like just a full fridge of Capri Suns in the house at all times.
It's like a 50-year-old man.
If he did not have Capri Suns in the house, he would freak out. He also ate bowl after bowl of kids' cereals, ate Fruit Loops and Fruity Pebbles with spoonfuls of extra sugar added on top, and it was all mixed in with strawberry milk.
But
That is
honestly,
fucking disgusting. As a fat man, that is disgusting.
it's like, I like my sweets, but I'm a savory boy. When I want to go to town, I go
you
to
put
town.
bacon on your cereal.
Yes, but also, we were going to talk a little bit about this, is that Oxy, yes, it is a relaxant, and it's a narcotic, right? Like it was an opioid, right?
An
So
opioid.
It has that thing where it's supposed to relax you, it's supposed to make you feel good. What Alex is saying is something I've heard from many people that have been specifically addicted to Oxy, which is much like they say about alcohol. There's something about, like, the way your body consumes it, about how some people, when alcohol turns you into a raving maniac,
Even
like
though it
Paul,
is technically a depressant.
yes,
Yeah.
it turns you into there are some people that react to it and where it makes them like a raving maniac. It makes it so they black out, their body goes, they can do a bunch of stuff. Oxy can work the same way.
Yeah.
So I actually think that when you're watching him skeetering and snorting and coughing and picking at himself and blinking and doing all that stuff, it's because he is gacked out of his mind. He's legitimately all zapped up. And so I bet you he does fall asleep.
Yeah.
In inopportune times.
When
And
he
then I bet you
crashes.
he's up all night slamming sugar. I bet you half the crashing is all the sugar he's eating.
It might be, yeah.
And all the fucking liquor that's also filled with sugar.
But the liquor helps you go to sleep.
Good night.
Night.
As far as who was providing Alex Murdaugh with all this Oxy, seems like he got a lot of it from his cousin, Curtis Edward Smith, a.k.a. Cousin Eddie. But for me, Curtis Smith will always be known by what was probably his drug dealer name, Fast Eddie.
Wow. It's just like, you got to come up with a name that isn't as suspicious.
Yeah, a less illegal nickname.
Yeah, I'm not going to think like Fast Eddie. Who's that? It's like, oh, it's my wife's OBGYN.
I would love to fucking be. She's 40 girls an hour. Hey, have you met my wife's guy? No, yeah, this is Greasy Mike. Hey, don't call me doctor. Call me Mike. Yeah, let's see the pussy, all right?
All right, I'm going to stir up some problems here.
Let me warm up my feet.
Now, Fast Eddie was a distant cousin of Alex who'd been seriously injured in a logging accident in 2007. While the two hadn't been close prior to the accident, Alec represented Fast Eddie in his personal injury case against the logging company. The two became friends, and Fast Eddie started doing odd jobs for Alex soon after. But Fast Eddie also got addicted to opioids because of his severe injuries. Long story short, Fast Eddie, before long, was manufacturing and selling drugs for an operation that was seemingly bankrolled by Alex Murdaugh himself. And here's the proof. Starting in October of 2013, Alex Murdaugh began writing checks to Fast Eddie for just under $10,000 each, because any amount above $10,000 would get flagged and reported as required by law. And so, over the next 8 years, Alex Murdaugh would write almost 500 additional checks to Fast Eddie, most just under $10,000. By the end of it, Alec had written $2.5 million worth of checks to Fast Eddie.
They're family.
Now, Alec claimed that all this money was used to just buy him Oxy for personal use. But after one reporter did the math, the amount of money given to Fast Eddie would have been enough for Alec to do Oxy all day, every day, for 117 years straight.
Wow, we're going to be relaxed forever until the sun explodes.
Most likely, as prosecutors later alleged, the money given to Fast Eddie was used to manufacture and distribute narcotics with multiple accomplices all over the state of South Carolina.
Well, also, Not So Fast Eddie would say in the documentary that a part of what they were doing was a little bit of a money laundering thing that he pretended not know about.
Yeah, because he kept asking, he's like, this isn't money laundering, right?
Which is, again, just remember that. That's for you guys that are money laundering. That's how you get out of it. You always got to make sure to ask. Now, this ain't money laundering, right? And as long as they say no, cash the check. Yeah. Don't even think about it. Just go, yep, you're right. Oh, why'd I even ask? Because he was giving him some of the cash, too. So he'd get some. They'd split up the cash. Alec would go do whatever shady shit he was doing it. The other guy would get his cut. Everybody was getting cuts.
Yeah, and then Alec could always have his fat wad of cash in his car, like always.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Fast Eddie was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to Alex Murdaugh and drug smuggling. His connections to this world would also be how he obtained the property where the Murdaugh family legacy would finally come to a bloody end. Purchased in 2013 in the small community of Islandton,
Islington.
Welcome to Landberg. This large tract of land, roughly twice the size of Central Park, came to be named after the street where the property had its entrance. Investigators, prosecutors, and true crime buffs around the world would come to know the plot of land where the Murdaughs lived, played, and died as Moselle.
I hate places with one name.
Yeah, Moselle.
I hate places where they're like,
You on going down to Moselle?
like just that idea of like you have to name your house like a city. That's how important your
But
fucking
that was
house
the
is.
name of the road.
Yeah, it was the name of the road.
Called the property Moselle.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, like it's like sometimes you're like, oh, I'm leaving Trimble and I'm gonna go over to this place.
Yeah, but our houses suck.
Yeah.
This is his house. All right, this is Murdaugh's house. All right, this is different. He has fucking a compound.
Yeah, it's a massive 2-story house that sits on. Yeah, it's like I think it's 1,700 acres. Like I said, it's twice the size of Central Park. It's full of hunting. It's got water. It's got lake access. It's got water, not lake access. I think ocean access. Water access.
Yeah.
They've got their dog kennels there. They've got so much in Moselle. Now, Moselle.
Like each one of them had an F-150 on that property, and then he had something like 45 cars.
There's guns everywhere.
Hundreds of guns.
Yeah. Well, you got to spend that $11 million on something.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though, is that they say, when they look at all of the money that Alex Murdaugh embezzled and all of the money that was possibly coming in from they're like, they have no idea where it all went. Like, they think that he may have actually put cash into PVC pipes and buried it around South Carolina.
And I would actually go and say that if you're in South Carolina right now, get your shovels.
Just start digging.
Get out to Moselle and start digging. Looking for that fucking money. I know it's there. Send pictures. Send money. When you find the money, send the money. Now, I wonder,
But his trips were always so extravagant. He spent a lot of fucking
You'd be
money.
surprised how
wasn't
much
enough.
You'd be surprised how much money you could. He had crashed 2 boats. You know that, right?
Yeah.
That Paul crashed another boat.
There was a lot of boat crashes.
Yeah, so it's like there's a lot of problems. He had several cars. He had trashed his. Paul had 3 cars.
But it still wasn't enough. Like it still was not enough to cover how much he embezzled and how much money he was just making with his fucking paycheck.
Wow. God, we gotta figure this out, guys.
Yeah. Oh,
How do we embezzle against ourselves?
Yeah. How do we embezzle? Yeah. Because it's not going anywhere else.
Yeah. What do we do with it? What crime do we commit?
We'll have a meeting.
Yeah,
why
thank
don't
you.
me and you have a meeting off mic where we figure out how to embezzle from each other?
Because we won't. That's for certain.
No, we certainly won't embezzle from ourselves. Now, Moselle had been bought from a Murdaugh family friend named Barrett Boulware, whose family had been close to the Murdaughs since the 1940s when they were all bootlegging moonshine. Barrett Boulware, however, was said to be one of South Carolina's most notorious drug smugglers.
It's a name in the South that you hear.
Yeah, no, Barrett Boulware, yeah. He sounds like a true detective character.
He does. He sounds like the guy that led him to the Yellow King.
Yeah.
Well, Barrett Boulware had been a shrimper, and Moselle's access to open water made it easy to use large shrimp boats to travel from the smaller South Carolinian islands to the mainland without raising any questions, which made it perfect for drug smuggling. By the 1980s, Boulware was South Carolina's cannabis king. But the fun nearly came to an end when Boulware got busted as a part of Ronald Reagan's war on drugs. The charges, however, were dropped when a key witness against Boulware just happened to step out into the road where he was struck and killed by a car.
What?
Crazy.
Yeah.
No, wait, what a crazy coincidence.
Isn't it? Yeah. And the whole case just went away.
Wow. What a lucky guy.
You should have beware when you go out on the road.
Especially when you're
Of the Boulware.
Especially if you're a high-level witness to a drug trafficking ring. I'd say stay inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And years later, Boulware got caught again, driving with 7 pounds of weed and a fair amount of cocaine. And that's the thing. If you get caught with 7 pounds of weed and cocaine in your car in South Carolina, most people go to prison forever.
You get beat to death.
Yes, but those charges against Boulware, they also went away.
Weird.
But this time it was said that it was simply his close connections to the Murdaughs that set him free. And by the time Boulware sold Moselle to Alex Murdaugh in 2013, it was rumored that the two of them had purchased several islands off the coast of South Carolina for the purposes of drug smuggling.
Now, it wouldn't be, this might be slander to even think that he would be paying off the cops. Right?
Oh,
no way.
Yeah, because it's not like his grandfather had already set the precedent of using the cops as his own personal gang to smuggle illegal substances
like
throughout the country.
Constantly did illegal parties where children drank and drugs were present while police and judges were there.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's like a secret county with a giant fence around it for no one to get in.
Yeah,
right?
literal
It's not
fence around it. Yeah. Now, in addition to access by water, Moselle also had its own airstrip for small single-engine planes.
Yeah, every small town needs one.
No, it's not even a small town. This is their private, personal airstrip on their land.
They need it. How else are they going to fly places? Yeah. you know how guys in Hampton County.
the county, you gotta fly everywhere.
Always flying places. I'm Hampton County. I gotta go. Oh, I gotta get to Tuscaloosa. Oh, I better take this to Wilmington, Delaware. Other pieces of shit places.
Apologies.
I'm sorry,
Apologies to
man. I
all
love
our
you. I'm
all
sorry.
our fans in Wilmington.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Not Tuscaloosa, though, huh?
No.
I heard that. I saw that, Marcus.
We understand. It's called an elephant that needs to go to a dentist. Let's continue.
The Tuscaloosa. Got it. Yeah,
It's
that's
Marx Brothers show.
Yes.
it's pretty good.
I'm a comedic historian.
Well, according to what Paul Murdaugh told his friends, Paul Murdaugh was telling his friends, like, oh yeah, he's flying in drugs.
Oh, yeah.
But drugs were allegedly not the only thing being flown in. They were not the only cargo being brought to Moselle by air. According to multiple sources, sex workers were brought in on these single-engine planes for exclusive parties thrown at various locations around the Low Country, and it is a high likelihood that some of these women were trafficked.
You do know that is just trafficking because prostitution is already illegal.
Yes.
So just bringing them in is trafficking.
True.
So they already would be guilty of crimes.
Let's say trafficked against their will.
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll amend that.
Well, they were told to do one thing, that they were going to go there to do one thing.
And then another.
And then it turns out it's another thing.
Well, Alex Murdaugh was living an increasingly erratic double life. As our research team put it, it was very quickly becoming something like a southern version of Twin Peaks. This is when things get really dark.
Yeah, it's like a goofy version of the Goodfellas. It's like the Ray Liotta breakdown.
Well, Alec was the type of guy who, all in one day, score some pills, cheat on his wife, fix a few court cases, coach his son's Little League game, host a wholesome after party for the players' families, and then end the entire night with a debaucherous, drug-fueled sex party that was attended by the elites
I'm
of the
tired
Low
at
Country.
4 o'clock on a workday. Okay, I'm tired. I don't know how they do all
We
this.
have to get you some oxy.
I was about to say, do you thought about Oxy?
No,
We can get you some Oxy.
I need drugs.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Get into it. Try it a little out. Get clean. Get OxyClean.
Wow. That's why they call it that.
Reportedly, Alex Murdaugh would host ultra-private get-togethers for local law enforcement, politicians, and legal professionals. Parties where the alcohol and the drugs flowed freely. Then, at some point in the evening, a high-class madam would bring out a group of girls for the guests to choose from to do with what they wilt.
Now, won't you check out some of the merchandise I've brought here? Obviously, this is butter. Right here.
Please, high-class madam. You're doing a pimp right now.
I know what you think I'm doing, but you ain't seen my price point yet,
Marcus, do not
child.
call this lady a pimp.
I'm a mother. I'm a mother first. All right? And the pimp second.
Oh, those are female breasts.
Oh, yes. Yes, you could not tell by my face or attire.
Yeah, it's the hair that confuses you.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. I just thought they were plain old male breasts. No, they're female
Now,
breasts.
here's a girl with no legs. You can get her the pussy real quick. Now, here's a girl with no hands. You can get to titties real quick. No, but here's a girl with no face. She just kind of sad. That keeps you going faster. Yeah, you know, it's nice about you look at the sad girl, make your boner go down, then you go back to the hooker. Am I making it wrong? Am I making it bad in here?
I'm so happy that we hired this high-class madam to come and host our sex party. These sex parties are getting better all the time.
This sex party is one of the best parties I've been to this year. I gotta say, when I put my glossy ejaculate across the mouth of that tender puncher's girl, I knew, my God, am I happy to be in a God's America.
No, these sex parties, it sounds like a rumor.
Sure.
But there's a witness. A sex worker named Lindsay Edwards said that she attended several Murdaugh parties in 2014 and 2015. Parties where men picked whatever woman they wanted before taking these girls to a private room. And on 2 occasions, Lindsay claims that Alex Murdaugh picked her, much to her regret. At first, Lindsay said that Alec was charming, and since she was indeed working, she agreed to have sex with him. But once they were alone, Lindsay said Alec's personality changed. His eyes became solid black. Same thing that people said happened to Paul when he turned dangerous. Alec then choked Lindsay against her will during the sexual encounter, coming very close to killing her. Now, Lindsay reported the violence to the madam, but the madam said that Alex Murdaugh had special privileges, and Lindsay was obliged to provide Alec with whatever services he wanted.
That what he do. He paid $25 to make a squeeze. Okay, you got to understand, child.
You know,
You don't like this character? You don't, good?
I mean, the character's good. It's just,
But it's bad. It's gross things she's saying.
yeah, she's saying awful. To try it again.
Now, you know how I do it when you want to make a child like a toothpaste tube. That's what we pay for. He likes to make them in a toothpaste tube.
Not quite there. Give me another one.
I know the child. You know when you take a Heinz ketchup bottle, smack it on the bottom, You try to make the ketchup come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slight,
Alec does.
slight giggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes the ketchup come out of the sex worker. Yeah. That's very nice.
Yeah.
You did that. You said that. All right. And none of this is real.
Yeah.
Also, when they say his eyes turn black, it's obviously he's on a lot of oxy and his pupils are dilated.
Exactly.
Sure.
No,
Yes.
exactly. No, he's not a demon.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
his eyes turn. Yes, it's because he's so incredibly intoxicated. And they have beady eyes to begin with. So when those pupils get big, it appears as if they are demonic. But Lindsay said that after the madam told her this guy gets special privileges, let him do whatever he wants. On the second encounter, Alec pulled Lindsay's hair so hard that he ripped it from her head. And he shoved a washcloth in her mouth while he had sex with her. Shortly after that, Lindsay quit sex work forever, but she never forgot Alex Murdaugh. And that don't mean that the parties didn't continue. That just
Certainly
means
not.
that she didn't go.
There's no way, Marcus. There's no way he would do something like this. It's not in his character.
No, it's not in his character at all to throw sex parties where I'm sure at least one woman was killed by accident.
Oh,
at least.
After he shot his own family in the face.
Yeah. And at the same time that Alec is hosting private parties with politicians and lawyers, Paul Murdaugh was becoming more and more of a constant source of stress. Friends of Alec and Maggie who had kids stayed away if they knew Paul was going to be around because they were afraid that Paul would negatively influence or even hurt their children. Paul's behavior was so bad that he was even kicked out of middle school, which is an incredible accomplishment in a town where the Murdaughs themselves ran the school board.
Like, how do you get kicked out of a middle school?
Yeah.
You don't need middle school. It's all pointless.
Oh, we know. I never read. I don't read.
Outside of school, though, Paul's cruelty got worse. Reportedly, when Paul got old enough to drive, he would run over dogs on purpose and take their collars as trophies. He'd also hide in the bushes at Moselle with a BB gun and shoot people working on the Murdaugh property. But besides the expulsion, nobody ever admonished Paul for his behavior because going against the Murdaughs meant that you not only had to go against the most powerful family in the county, but you also had to go against everyone else in the community who was defending the Murdaughs, or at least defending them for the time being.
Where'd you hear that dog thing?
It was in was it Valerie Bauerlein's book, I think.
Yeah,
Like,
it was one of those where he was escalating wildly. And anybody that said different about him, wanted it to be different.
Yeah, anyone who said that, no, Paul was actually like a good guy. You just didn't know Paul.
No, like that means nothing.
Either means that person doesn't want Paul to be as bad of a person as they actually were, or that person is complicit in what Paul
got
did.
His ass kicked a lot?
No,
he didn't.
I bet he did.
No, they ramped up the idea. So that's a part of the whole motive, right? They ramped up the idea that Paul was getting his ass beat and all these guys are coming after him. We're not there yet. We're far ahead right now.
Yeah, but even then, like even when he was a kid, he would not get his ass. Like,
he was too scared. The family was too powerful.
But he also liked getting into, like, he was also very violent. Like,
he was a fighter.
He would start the fight.
He could fight. Yeah, he would start the fight.
He's probably good at it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he thought he was.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was quite a few people who let him win. Yeah. Maggie Murdaugh, meanwhile, she was doing all she could just to keep it together. Alec had been keeping her reasonably satisfied by chartering private jets for extravagant trips all over the world, paid for by money that Alec had stolen from his personal injury clients. But in this, Maggie never asked questions.
And she knew nothing.
Really, what got Maggie most riled up was Alec's habitual cheating, which he did not limit to sex workers. Maggie would keep close friends and extended family far away from Alec, especially if they were brunettes. Because while we look at Alex Murdaugh as a physically repulsive specimen in every way,
he is objectively.
Yeah, some women did find Big Red attractive, even when he began calling himself Big Daddy. No one else called him Big Daddy, but he tried to get people to start calling him Big Daddy, and it didn't catch on.
It might have been the money.
Yeah.
And then funny guys.
No, he was charming. Everyone knew that he was charming when he was trying to be so.
Yeah.
And those big guys, I mean, as a big man, some women find that very attractive.
No, sometimes a woman just wants to be with the big scary man.
Yeah.
Because it's fun for them to be with.
Yeah, they want to be with a scary Sanny.
And sometimes they want to be with the sexy poet. Sometimes they want to be with a man that is, he might be just as tall as he is round, but he'll eat your pussy until you're dead.
What else do women want, Henry?
I think women want a little hut. They want a little hut to bleed in, a little hut to eat in, one little hut to stretch in,
yes,
and then one little hut to read the news in so I don't have to hear them crying.
That last hut sounds like it's your hut. It's a rough hut. There's a lock on the outside, not on the inside.
Yep. Well, Maggie kicked Alec out of the house for cheating again and again, but Alec always managed to talk his way back inside because, as we said last episode, Murdaughs don't divorce.
And she can't get cut off from all that good ass shit. She knows she's just going back to fucking wherever she came from if she leaves this arrangement here, and she doesn't want it. She has all of these super powerful people. Yeah, she'll make money in a divorce, but it's gonna be what do we know about divorce? It's not good.
No, it's very difficult.
And they still, to their credit, no Murdaughs have ever gotten divorced.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. And
technically, because Buster got married.
We can really look up to them. Buster's wife better look out.
Oh, she sleeps with one eye open.
Oh, yeah. She's probably because she only got the one.
Well, as Valerie Bauerlein put it, Maggie Murdaugh soothed herself with cocktails and manicures and shopping and the beach because the cheating and the alcoholism were not the only problems. Eventually, Alec's oxy addiction would begin causing rifts in the marriage.
Now come over here, sit on my pussy chopper.
What does that have to do?
Come on, sit on my pussy chopper.
Is that what he called his
penis?
Come on here, sit on my pussy chopper.
What does that have to do with his oxy addiction?
Chopper. Come on.
Come on, let me called it his snatch it.
No. That's what I call when my pussy chopper goes inside.
It's horrible.
Thank you.
Now, every so often, Alec would try to quit Oxy when it looked like Maggie was about to leave, and Alec would spend days shivering and vomiting in bed at Moselle with withdrawals. And afterward, he would tell Maggie, everything's different this time, and she would believe him until she or Paul would find bags of Oxy taped away in hiding places around the house. Paul actually became so good at finding his father's Oxy stashes that they started calling him the Little Detective.
No.
He's so good. You're so good at finding your father's illegal opioids. You're a little detective, aren't you?
Oh, and the curtain.
Yeah, I'm a little detective. Give me a cigar.
Rise from your grave.
Last Podcast on the Left is excited to collaborate with Audible. Audible has a massive range of ad-free crime fiction, nonfiction, and true crime podcasts. There's so many things you could do while you're listening to an audiobook. You can clean up your own personal crime scene. And that's easy to do, and you can learn it all from books. Some people also listen to audiobooks to go to sleep. But you could check out podcasts like This American Life, titles from true crime greats like Michael Connelly and Agatha Christie, and Audible originals like Dr. Death, The Cowboy. You can find whatever you're looking for on Audible. Plus, you can multitask while you do it. Find your next mystery on Audible. Audible. Stories that speak to you. New members can start listening with a 30-day free trial at audible.com/left. This is a paid ad by BetterHelp. It's so important to remember with the busyness of the holidays, every holiday, Arbor Day, that day about the planet, President's Day. There's so many things to adapt to in this life, and it doesn't follow a perfect plan. God, ruins the whole weekend. But therapy with BetterHelp, the world's largest online therapy platform, it can be a space to pause, reevaluate, and adjust to any unexpected changes. With over 30,000 therapists worldwide, BetterHelp is one of the leading online therapy platforms, having served millions of people globally. BetterHelp makes it easier to fit therapy into your routine. You're in good hands, too. BetterHelp therapists have at least 3 years and 1,000 hours of hands-on experience, and hold all required education, training, and certifications. It's easy to do, and the help is better over there. You don't have to navigate life's changes alone. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lastpod. That's betterhelp.com/lastpod. Is there anything better than a summer evening outdoors? Enjoy your space to the fullest with new greenery from Fast Growing Trees. I love a big, thick bush. Fast Growing Trees is America's largest, most trusted online nursery, and they can send me a big, thick bush any time of the day. It arrives at work. It arrives at my car. I can pinpoint on a Google map where it is. Send me a big, thick, brown bush. And they send it immediately when they have it, because sometimes the shaver comes to town. I remember one time I ordered a cherry wood tree from Fast Growing Trees, and my God, I couldn't cut it down no matter what my father told me to do. I had to lie to him about it, and next thing you know, I became the first president of the United States of America. And even you can become the first president of the United States of America with Fast Growing Trees. Right now, get up to half off select summer planting essentials, plus get an additional 20% off your first purchase with code LEFT at checkout. That's an additional 20% off at fastgrowingtrees.com with code LEFT at checkout. Offer is valid for a limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, even though Oxy was a bridge too far for the Murdaugh family, alcohol was still all well and good, and it made every single one of them aggressive. On occasion, these guys would get drunk and aggressive together, like the time that Alec and Paul tracked down a girl who had turned down Paul's romantic advances. See, the girl that Paul liked had a boyfriend, and when Alec and Paul found them in a gas station in the boyfriend's car after they rode around town getting drunker and drunker, they hooted and hollered while slamming their hands on the kid's vehicle. And at one point, Alec repeatedly shouted for the boyfriend to, quote,
Get out here and fight my boy! Come fight my child! My wife and child! Come fight my child!
Fight my child, he's been fought badly!
He's been fought badly!
Well, I wish people would have filmed the fucking shit out of that.
Yeah, but he had some, get out here and fight my boy! Fight my boy!
Your dad ever take you to a fight?
What do you mean?
My dad drove me to a fight once.
Like an actual fight, or like a bare knuckle, like back alley thing?
Yeah, I had to fight this guy once, and I had my dad drive me and drop me off at a McDonald's so I could fight this guy.
Yeah.
But he didn't show up, thank God.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just eventually called my dad and I'm like, all right, come get me.
No, my dad was constantly at work. He missed all that. Yeah.
I'm glad he was working.
All of my fights were private and brutal.
As they should be.
Now, all this is to say, that the Murdaughs were provably violent people who weren't above using violence to get what they wanted. It had been rumored for years that the Murdaugh family were perfectly willing and capable of getting rid of people that were inconvenient. And that brings us to the case of Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith and his twin sister Stephanie were both in Buster Murdaugh's class at Wade Hampton High. And Stephen and Buster had both been on the same Little League team when they were kids. But when they got to high school, Buster distanced himself because Stephen came out as proudly gay, which was a huge thing in a small town in South Carolina.
Dude, it's almost a homicidal choice.
No, well, I don't want to discourage kids from coming out.
Yeah, no, I feel very bad for Stephen, but it's good to do.
Well, Stephen bravely endured all the abuse that came his way as a result. But despite the turmoil, he was still a straight-A student who remained a caring person to the end of his days, who always lived life on his own terms. Now, even though Stephen was out and proud, Buster still, according to one very gossipy high school teacher, took Stephen's help when Buster needed a science tutor. Stephen's sister Stephanie, however, confirmed that Stephen had told her that these tutoring sessions with Buster had blossomed into a full-blown homosexual fling, which allegedly continued until they graduated high school. No proof of this, of course, but there are many people are saying things.
Yeah. Many people are saying things, and after what we already know, it's hard to discount some of the things, because Buster definitely looks like he loves to suck dick.
He is, after all, a public figure.
He is. Yes.
Now, the summer after their first year in college, Stephen Smith had returned home from the technical school where he'd been studying to become a registered nurse, and Buster had returned from his first year at Wofford College in Spartanburg.
The Spartans aren't gay at all.
Nothing gay about Greek warfare. There's been nothing gay about it. I don't care what anybody says about the Greeks. Nothing homosexual about their philosophy or lifestyle.
Now, that summer, Stephen had gotten into an altercation with a redneck with a Guns N' Roses tattoo on July 4th, but Stephen had come out unscathed. Stephen did not, however, survive the night of July 7th. And the day in question, as well as the night, is filled with mysterious events that still don't have any answers. And this all happened in 2015. That day, Stephen called up his sister Stephanie from a gas station asking for help because his car wouldn't start. When Stephanie showed up and popped the hood, she discovered that someone had unscrewed the battery connections and had unplugged the oil drain on Stephen's car. Now, since Stephen was an openly gay kid in a southern backwater, this sort of thing didn't faze him too much, so he shrugged his shoulders and headed home to change. He said goodbye to Stephanie at exactly 6 p.m., but that was the last time that anyone would admit to seeing Stephen Smith alive. Now, we have absolutely no idea what happened that night, but just before 4 a.m., a tow truck driver was driving down a secluded road near Crocketville in Hampton County when he saw what he thought was a large dead animal lying in the middle of the road. He called 911 to report it, but when a deputy showed up 40 minutes later, he found the body of Stephen Smith splayed out across the dividing line with his skull caved in. Now, a body in the road makes one think that this would be a hit and run, but there were no tire marks, no vehicular debris on the road or anywhere on Stephen's body, and no paint scrapes anywhere. Stephen's knees were also resting together peacefully, as though someone had posed him, as opposed to the usually mangled body that one sees after a hit and run, a body that tumbles down the road and leaves a long trail of blood and intestines.
Yes.
His loose-fitting shoes were also still on his feet. That also never happens in a hit and run. His shoes always fly off. Stephen had no broken bones, other than his skull, of course, and the only blood on the road was what had poured from his massive fatal head wound. And all of this pointed to the fact that Stephen had been killed elsewhere and dumped at this location.
Could it possibly have been a very small car?
Yeah, a flying car.
Yeah, very
It could have been Ant-Man.
What if
have
it
you
was
thought about it being Ant-Man?
It was an Ant-Man in a car the size of a baseball bat.
Yeah. Now, where in his head was the bruise, do you know?
In the back, I think.
So he would have to lean his head so the back of his head would get hit by a car.
He would have had to have tried to headbutt a moving car
With the back of his head.
But
lose.
only that. and the rest of his body would be unaffected. So
Yeah.
he obviously
It's
was
impossible that he was hit by a car.
He was
Yes.
beaten to death. We know that he was beaten to death, and he was left in the middle of the road for it to look like a hit and run.
Yes.
And it sounds, but guess what that also sounds like? A childlike idea of covering up a crime.
Sure.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a teenager's concept.
Or an adult.
Yeah, bad, dumb adult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dumb. It worked.
A dumb adult would hit it with the car, but just because nobody cared, there was no way to figure it out.
The investigation is open again.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, stranger still that night was Stephen's car. It was found abandoned 3 miles away with an empty gas tank, which made it appear as if Stephen had run out of gas and was walking to get help. The nearest gas station, however, was in the opposite direction, and the gas cap was open, as if someone had siphoned away all the gas, because it's the only reason why the gas cap will be open. How many times have you run out of gas and you
then
go
looked
back
in it?
and
Do I go look at it and go, oh, I can't see the gas in it.
Yeah, no one does that. No one goes and opens the gas cap.
And then he just came from the gas station.
Yeah, he had been at the gas station earlier that day. It's a good point. It's a
Yes.
very good point. Stephen's wallet was also left behind in his car. Something you'd think he would have brought his wallet with him if he was going for gas. Now, in South Carolina, deaths like Stephen's are investigated by the Highway Patrol, and it was immediately obvious to them that Stephen had been killed elsewhere and dumped in the middle of the road, and that this did not involve a motor vehicle in any way whatsoever. But by 6:25 a.m., less than 2 fucking hours after the body was found by that first deputy, the Hampton County coroner had rushed through the autopsy and ruled Stephen Smith's death as an accidental hit and run, almost as if someone told them, hey, this is an accidental hit and run. Why don't you make that happen as fast as you possibly fucking can?
They also, never truly put total laziness out.
That is also, I mean, that is
Bunch
also...
of guys wanting to wrap it up, have it be done. He was found on the road, local gay kid we don't like, hit and run.
It was one person who was trying to wrap it up, but yeah, it was like, they asked, like, well, why do you think it was a hit and run? They was found in the road.
Yep.
And that was it. That was the only evidence they had for it being a hit and run. They was found in the road.
Sounds like a great coroner.
Hey, man, he didn't even know why he died.
Well, the troopers still investigating the scene were flabbergasted, but they couldn't do anything to change the coroner's mind. And by 9 a.m., the road where Stephen was found was reopened on the orders of Hampton County officials. Bodies found at 2:30 a.m., I think. Roads open again by 9.
Yep, they just were like, well, that's over. Like immediately just like, well, we think that, you're not going to, all right, we'll go home.
Yeah. Get out the hose.
Bye-bye. No one drives on the road anyway, obviously, if he was sitting out there for all those hours.
Mm-hmm. And, I can understand if you're thinking, hey, this is an openly gay kid who's murdered in a southern town. Could have been anybody.
Sure.
Anybody might have killed him. And, I could also see you thinking like, all right, this is a case of the less dead. The coroner's just trying to get this body through and processed as fast as possible. He's a gay kid. No one gives a shit. Let's not have a murder on the books. But if it could have been anybody, why did the Murdaugh family involve themselves so heavily in the investigation? Because reportedly, Randy Murdaugh III himself was on the scene before the whole thing got wiped away. And there were very few people who could put pressure on the coroner in such a way as to file a bogus cause of death that fast.
Now, this is Randy the uncle or the grandfather?
This is the grandfather. This is Big Randy. This is Randy the Third.
Big Daddy.
No, it's a Big Daddy's son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's so many of these fucking
So many
assholes.
daddies.
As many dead as many... that's Buster. Yeah, that's...
It's kind of nice of Alec to eliminate some of the guys we have to talk about.
Yeah. The community did actually come to the Smith family's side when the news broke, but the tenor changed when one name started coming up over and over again when people asked who could have done such a thing. That name, of course, was Buster Murdaugh.
They're all like, the Murdaughs.
Yeah, and when the Murdaugh name got involved, the people of Hampton County once again began self-policing themselves because the Murdaughs still had enough goodwill from helping out someone's daddy or someone's mama or someone's brother sometime in the past where defending this family had almost become a reflex.
Now, was Buster violent, like notoriously as well?
No, Buster was not notoriously violent. Not like Paul was. Buster Buster was actually probably the most level-headed, at least as far as like outward appearance goes.
Can I view
of all of them?
My view?
Yeah.
He's the weak
total weak pussy one that'll do whatever daddy says.
Maybe.
He's the lead son. He's supposed to take over the family name. He's in law school. He's the one taking up the charge. By this point, Paul has already said he doesn't necessarily want to be a lawyer. He's already kind of focusing on his rural dumb shit. I'm a fake country boy.
Paul's still in high school,
Yes.
and Buster just finished his freshman year of undergrad.
Yeah, so but Buster's going to be the one, right? So I think that what Buster is a pussy. So Buster is way more. Paul's a homicidal maniac.
Yeah.
Let's say Buster did get in a situation with Stephen Smith and this led to somewhere. My call is that it was him and other boys that led to the death. It wasn't Paul on his own.
Buster.
It was not. Yes, it was not Buster on his own.
Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't have been Buster. I just don't think he has the heart to do it.
No, I think he's a pussy. I think that he put himself in a situation where all of his boys were all being like, oh, you and Steven, Kissing.
Well, let's get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the first red flag, besides Randy III's presence at the crime scene, came when one of Alex Murdaugh's older brothers called up Stephen's parents out of the blue to volunteer his services in investigating their son's death. This was Randy IV. Another Randy. So, to avoid confusion, I'm just going to call him the Murdaugh brother.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Now, this Murdaugh did have a previous relationship with the Smith family. He'd represented Stephen Smith's father in a workman's comp claim years before. So it wasn't the craziest thing that he called him up, but that didn't explain why this Murdaugh was the second person to call the Smiths right after the coroner called them to tell them that their son was dead. Call number 2.
The coroner probably called the Murdaughs first.
Well, I think the Murdaughs talked to the coroner before anyone.
And I think because word was already cycling. Let's say it was just a rumor that Buster was involved and it was already circling. That's what they're immediately trying to suppress.
This is where the solicitor angle comes in, because Randy is the ex-solicitor. He's going to get all this information before anyone else.
Oh, I think that the entire plan was set into place before Stephen Smith's body was even found. Let's get into that. Now, the Smiths were, of course, suspicious about the Murdaugh brother calling immediately after the coroner, but that didn't stop the Murdaugh brother from showering the Smiths with calls over the next few weeks, offering to, quote-unquote, help with their son's tragic death.
Yeah, let's sue somebody.
But really, he's looking for information, and he's also trying to
keep them close.
Keep them close and put the focus of the investigation and the focus of their anger anywhere but towards the Murdaugh name. And there were rumors that Stephen had been killed by homophobic cops, but the most persistent rumor was that the people behind Stephen Smith's murder had been, quote, them Murdaugh boys. Even though the coroner had tried killing the investigation, the state troopers had continued looking into Stephen's death because of the repeated mention of the Murdaughs. But just as soon as they started asking questions about the Murdaugh boys specifically, a lot of people stopped answering questions altogether. But since the Murdaughs' grip on the people of Hampton County had been slowly loosening, 10 people mentioned either Buster or Paul Murdaugh's name during the investigation, although none of them had firsthand information. And, I've grown up in a really small town. Like, I know how this shit goes. One person says one thing and another person says another, and they just keep talking. Like, well, 10 people I talked to all said Murdaugh. It's like, well, yeah, those 10 people all talked the same fucking gossip. Who said the same thing. Doesn't necessarily mean that the Murdaughs were definitely involved. But it is interesting. And what's really interesting about this is that the state troopers found that when they called up some of those people who've been willing to talk for follow-up interviews, they discovered that some of those informants very suddenly had gone on vacation. And those people never returned to Hampton County. They weren't killed. They just never moved back, almost as if somebody had given them a shitload of money and said, get the fuck out of here.
I also believe there is nobody really wants to be the sticky wheel. I think a lot of people think that, like, it's easy to come at the Murdaughs. Like, let's say it's devil's advocate. It's easy to come at the Murdaughs because they're the local rich people. We're gonna start a rumor mill about the boys, blah, blah, blah. But up until that point, previous generations, they held the respect of the community. Mm-hmm. They were genuinely liked by the community. And there's something about the switch. There's something about them extending themselves to say Buster and Paul, not Alec, none of the other old cryptic guys, that it's the sons that have already created this reputation. Obviously, they have created a real reputation of violence or an aura of violence that they are, because why else would all of these people say those? There's so many other roughnecks. There's so many other pieces of shit that you could rat out. Why is it always the Murdaughs if it's not something there?
Yeah. And this Stephen Smith shit, it got swept under the rug pretty fucking fast and probably would have stayed there if Paul wasn't such a goddamn lunatic.
Yes.
Now, there are a ton of theories about what happened to Stephen Smith, but there's unfortunately no evidence whatsoever proving any of them. One story goes that Buster and Stephen had continued at least a friendship after high school, and when Stephen ran out of gas on July 7th, he was still comfortable enough with Buster to call him for help. Now, it's proven that Buster had been playing in a softball tournament that night.
Interesting.
And it's theorized that maybe one of Buster's friends, or even possibly Paul, had seen or heard something that had embarrassed Buster enough to inspire violence that night. The softball tournament detail is important because the autopsy performed on Stephen Smith, even though it still ruled his death as a result of a motor vehicle crash, it placed his cause of death as blunt head trauma. The sort of blunt head trauma someone gets from getting smashed in the head with a baseball bat. And the prevailing theory from the state troopers is that Buster and his friends may have seen Stephen walking down the road or standing near his car, and they bashed him with the bat, thus causing the fatal blunt head trauma.
Or maybe they had a couple of beers and they thought it was really funny to do to scare the dude as he's on the side of the street. Oh, Buster's boyfriend, let's scare him. And then one of the guy does the thing where he puts the bat out the window as they go, and he just...
Yep, and very accident. Yeah, because the troopers don't believe that they were intentionally trying to kill Stephen.
But even if they did it while he was driving, he would have had marks on other parts of his body when he fell.
Unless you just went...
But when he fell...
Yeah. Well, he did have marks on other parts. There was some scrapes on his body.
Like just not enough to say that he was dragged by a vehicle or struck and killed by a vehicle.
Yeah. But the thing is, the troopers don't believe that these kids were intentionally trying to kill Stephen, but when they allegedly discovered that he was dead, they may have loaded the body and dumped it in the road 3 miles away before Buster called his daddy or his granddaddy to fix it. And fix it they did. Because to this day, Buster has still never even been questioned in the death of Stephen Smith. The investigation ended after only 3 months, when word came down to the troopers from the very top to not pursue this investigation any further in any way whatsoever. And that's the thing, is that there is no proof here, but there's just so much cover-up, such an insane amount of cover-up, that it really does point towards the Murdaughs being involved in fucking some way or another.
There's enough evidence to at least question them.
Yes,
well, this is the thing.
Very much so.
If this was just a family and you heard this story, I'd call it bullshit. But we got 3 bodies, right? And so things couldn't have been going that well.
Technically, we got 5 bodies.
So we got a lot of bodies here. So the fact that it led to at least one organized double murder tells me that there might be some stuff bubbling under the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of other shit that people could find on these guys.
Oof, man.
It's a big property.
It's already there. We've already talked about a bunch of rumors.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that we didn't, there's so many that I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Talk about the previous generations. Mm-hmm. Or when we get to the real helpful Murdaugh brother.
Mm-hmm. Now, at the same time that Buster may have gotten away with murder, Paul Murdaugh was also barreling towards his first brush with suspicious accidental death. See, by the age of 18, Paul was drinking booze bought with Buster's ID every day. His girlfriend at the time, Morgan Dowdy, remembered a time when Paul drunkenly vomited in front of his parents, but the Murdaughs were unbothered by the whole affair. Morgan was also by this point on the business end of Paul Murdaugh's drunken physical violence. In other words, Paul was increasingly out of control, and it is this lack of control that led some people to suspect that he may have had a hand in the death of the Murdaughs' longtime housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield. So on February 2nd, 2018, Gloria Satterfield was found at the bottom of the brick steps leading up to the Murdaugh house at Moselle at 8:30 a.m. Her skull was crushed, a dozen of her vertebrae were broken, several of her ribs were broken, and there was a hematoma on her brain. Now, again, we have no idea what really happened here, but Maggie apparently found Gloria and called 911. In the call, Maggie was impatient, irritated, and somewhat put out by the whole affair, showing very little emotion towards the woman who had raised her children for 20 years. You know what she sounds like? She sounds like someone who's annoyed that her dog has eaten chocolate, and she's calling the vet to see if she needs to bring her in.
Legitimately, listen to the 911 calls across the board. If you want to really hear what a lie sounds like, listen to it, because Paul's also on that call.
Oh, yeah, because Paul's present. Like, he's there. When he gets on the phone with the operator, he's annoyed that the operator is even asking simple questions. Like, the operator's asking, like, is she breathing? Does she have a history of strokes? Paul's like, I don't know why you're asking me questions.
It's literally what he's like, why are you asking me all these damn questions? He sounds intoxicated.
Yeah, it's 8:30 a.m. He could be partying all night. Who
I don't
the
know
fuck
what
knows?
the fuck it is. He sounds like a little, well, you definitely sounds like you've got bitch disease.
She was outside the house, right?
Yeah,
It was
on the front
steps. And it is February 2nd. She could have been scared by a groundhog.
Oh, whoa. And he was coming out there, and they were all like, get that damn groundhog.
They're shooting at the groundhog.
Stop giving us bad luck.
Yeah. There's a lot of land. There's got to be groundhogs.
There has to be.
Do we know where Dan Aykroyd was during all this?
No.
Where was Dan Aykroyd?
Where was he?
Can't believe he's got divorced.
Not a good sign, boys.
For all those out there who've seen Caddyshack 2.
Yes.
Caddyshack 2.
Mr. Westerhouse.
So one of my dumbest. Why do I know they'll be like, try golfing with that jammed up your crack?
Well, paramedics arrived 20 minutes after they called 911 because Moselle was way the fuck out there. And while Gloria was able to give her name and say that she had fallen down the steps, she could not or chose to not say exactly what had caused her fall. But
She literally didn't even say what happened.
Yeah.
Remember that, guys. She could fucking communicate enough, and she didn't tell them.
she gave them her address, but would not tell them what happened. They said, how did you fall down this? And she said, I don't know. That's what she would say. Over and over again. I don't know.
In the Hulu show, they don't show her like getting killed by Paul. With the way they do it, they still found a way to make them all look like assholes. They had her like lugging in all their luggage after a trip. And then she couldn't handle all the luggage, and that's how she fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's like, wow, a bellhop's death.
But even though Gloria didn't say what happened, and Maggie didn't say what happened when she was on the phone with 911, they asked her what happened. She said, I don't know. Alex Murdaugh began telling everyone that the dogs had caused the fall.
He's really good at coming up with reasons for things.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, he said that the dogs tripped her up, and she was walking up them steps, and the dogs tripped her up, and it's just what happens. Sometimes you got as many dogs as we got around Moselle.
Everybody loved dogs.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. You can't blame dog. Dog not murderer. You can't even blame that dog.
Well,
and it's just find it interesting because nobody else said what happened.
No, and Alex said that Gloria had told him what had happened before the paramedics showed up, that he had gotten there and he had leaned down and she had looked up. She said, the dogs had tripped me. And he began telling everybody that's what happened. He told her sons that's what happened. He told the insurance agents that's what happened. But according to the groundskeeper at Moselle, Alex was never present before, during, or after the fall. He was never there. So Gloria couldn't have told him anything. Gloria, meanwhile, never regained consciousness. And after 3 weeks in the hospital, where Maggie visited once, and the boys, who Gloria had raised for 20 fucking years, they didn't visit her at all, Gloria Satterfield died a horrible death, leaving behind 2 sons of her own. Her brain just eventually went,
Yeah.
and she left.
And it just because the sons didn't visit her doesn't mean that they're guilty. It just, they are assholes too.
Massive
assholes. We can't discredit how big of pricks they are.
We really can't overstate how big of massive pieces of fucking shit, dog shit, butt nuggets.
It's just too many examples. There's just so much stuff that at least on some level, whether it's evidence or not, shows that these people are fucking sociopaths.
Yeah. Now, the rumor, and again, it's all rumor here, was that Paul Murdaugh had lost his temper and pushed Gloria down the steps because she'd found drugs in his room and confronted him about it. It was said that Paul proudly boasted about killing her to his friends and that he'd allegedly told other people around town that he was responsible for her death. Again, this is all small town gossip. But the interesting thing here is not with Paul, but with Alec. See, just a month before Gloria died, Alec had taken out a large liability insurance policy on Moselle in anticipation of an accident just like the one Gloria suffered a month before. And at Gloria's funeral, Alec approached her adult son and said, "Hey, if you want to get a lawyer to sue me for wrongful death, well, that's going to trigger the insurance policy. That payout's going to take care of all your mama's medical bills. Going to leave a little something extra for you and the kids. Because, as Alec put it, you kids are like family to me.
Ooh,
y'all
y'all
are like family to me, and I want to make sure you're taken care of."
But that guy kills his family.
Not yet. Not yet. He's still a few years away from killing his family.
He's only planning it at this point.
Oh, he's thinking
It's like, it's just a twinkle in his eye. No, the lawyer that Alec recommended to the Satterfields was, of course, Corey Fleming. That was his partner in embezzlement. But Alec neglected to mention that Corey was his best friend and his former college roommate. And that's what makes this whole thing fishy, is that he could have easily said, like, "Oh, yeah, I know Corey real well. I've known him for forever." But no, he's like, there's this lawyer you should call. It's Corey Fleming. He'll take care of you. But
yeah, it's like, no, he tried to act like it was somebody he didn't know.
Yes. Now,
He obviously knows him if they're giving him the number.
But he didn't want him. He's not like, this is my best friend.
Yeah. Now, Gloria's family agreed to the scheme, but as soon as the wheels started moving, the Satterfields were cut out of the process completely. Once Fleming filed the wrongful death suit, he secured a settlement check with the insurance company, little over $500,000. But that money was then transferred not to the Satterfields, but to an account that Alex Murdaugh had opened with the Bank of America a few years earlier because his scam had reached its next idiotic level. This was the account that he used solely for scamming people. This account had been opened under the name Richard A. Murdaugh, sole proprietor doing business as Forge. Because Forge Consulting LLC, that was a legitimate financial holding company.
Yeah, that was his company.
No, it wasn't. Forge Consulting LLC had nothing to do with Alex Murdaugh in any way whatsoever. It was a completely different, it was a different business.
It was a paper signing business, right?
Yeah. It was like if you open up like a car dealership and called it, Chevy, but it's not Chevrolet, but it's like Henry doing business as Chevy. And so if someone writes a check to Chevy, you can cash that check because you're doing business as Chevy.
Yeah.
But the company's not Chevy. You don't work for Chevy.
No.
Just like Alex Murdaugh didn't work for Forge Consulting LLC. But since he had this account that was simply called Forge, he could tell people, write out that check to Forge. And he could pretend like that check was going to the legitimate Forge Consulting LLC. But it wasn't going to the legitimate Forge Consulting LLC. It was going into his personal bank account over at Bank of America.
What a great idea. It's just crazy. If you have a phony business account, don't call it Forge.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many other things. There's so many.
Plagiarism Inc. Welcome to Crime Syndicate Business. I'm sorry, I just need the money.
And so Alec laundered the insurance money gained from his housekeeper's brutal death through the Forge account, and he kept every cent for himself, except, of course, for a little vig given to Corey Fleming. Now, Alec kept telling Gloria's family that he was working on it when they asked what was happening with the case. But without their mother's income, the Satterfield home was repossessed, and her family never even knew that the payout had happened until the news reported on Alec's financial crimes years later.
He laundered the money off of the person who used to do laundry for him.
Yeah.
In a company called Forge, where he got a check that was given to him from a. This is crazy. This is like,
You know what it is? You know what you're seeing here, Eddie?
Oxy ideas. Like this is it. This is Oxy ideas. This man is just like he is an ideas guy. He's like Tesla.
It really it's like a fucking sophomore in a creative writing class, and you got to say like your metaphors are a little too on the nose.
Yes,
just like laundering money, forge. Jesus, fucking Christ. Hi, my name is Jimford Embezzler. It's
easy.
But out of all the suspicious deaths surrounding the Murdaugh family, there was none that did more to bring their sleaziness into the light than the one that occurred on February 24th, 2019, or technically the 25th. On the night of the 24th, Paul drunkenly crashed a boat into a bridge with 5 friends on board, and one, of course, did not survive. This is the incident that brought the Murdaugh family to national attention. Now, by this point, Paul was 19 years old and was basically spending his life either drinking or hunting. And on the night in question, Paul was drinking. On the evening of February 24th, Paul was driving his father's 17-foot fishing boat, Sea Hunt.
Cunt.
Shunt?
No. Sea Hunt.
Cunt. Okay, all right. Well, he was driving this fishing boat with 2 other young couples and his on-again, off-again girlfriend. The girls were Morgan Dowdy, Miley Altman, and Mallory Beach. They were all close friends, lifelong friends, while the other 2 guys, Connor and Anthony Cook, were cousins. Connor was dating Miley. Connor was a nickname Cotton Top, that's what everyone called him, while Anthony was dating Mallory, although that relationship would end in tragedy before the night was through.
Alex was called Oxycontin Top. Please continue.
You got it, buddy.
Wow.
Now, even though Morgan had broken up with Paul by this point because of the abuse, the other 2 girls had convinced her to go up the river with him that night to an oyster roast. Oyster roast is a low country tradition during the chilly winter months. Yeah, you just throw a bunch of oysters on a grill. And
it's fine. I bet they got good oysters or whatever, but it's like one of those things where it's just it's rich people pretending to be poor.
Mm-hmm. Where they were taking Sea Hunt that night because Paul had already been drinking and he'd wanted to avoid the inevitable DWI checkpoints on the road. And that also tells you a little bit about the Murdaugh's waning power, because before, Murdaugh's going to blow right through a checkpoint.
Well, it's because he had already, there's already been a couple of run-ins.
Many run-ins. Yes, many, many run-ins.
And he's underage, too.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, after funneling multiple beers at this party, Paul decided that he wanted a nightcap at his favorite dockside bar, Luther's Rare Well and Done.
And these guys, these fucking losers, these 2 children show up to your bar and you pour them shots and shit. Who are these fucking losers working at all of these places, aiding and abetting these horrible children?
It's the South, dude.
Yeah.
It's seriously,
like, why
it
shows the video of Paul going up to that bar, he's slamming his hand on the bar, doing the, give me a shot. It's like, that was an older man that fucking poured him that shot. He should have been, fuck you.
Yeah.
Well,
get out of my bar.
They're scared of him, man.
Yeah.
He's a 19-year-old.
They're still scared of him.
I know.
The young adults all hopped back in the boat and they took it down to Luther's where they had shots. By that point, Paul had drank enough where his evil alter ego Timmy had come out to play. And after Paul got into a fight with a fellow bar patron and started kicking over chairs, the group finally left the bar at 1:13 a.m. Now, the other kids wanted to call an Uber home at this point, but Paul insisted that he wasn't going to leave his father's boat at the docks, and he absolutely refused to let anybody else drive. So, against all their better judgment, the other 5 young adults got back into the boat with Paul Murdaugh out of either misplaced loyalty or fear.
Also, just that there's a vibe of, if we finally draw our line in the sand, when you deal with these types of guys, he's going to blow it up and make it so bad that no one's going to want to deal with it, right? No one wants to deal with how he's holding all of their relationship hostage, and they don't want to deal with it because they don't want to challenge it. They're too young to understand.
Well, they've dealt with it. They've dealt with it many times.
Well, they haven't dealt with it.
Yeah, well,
they've let it sit.
Yeah.
And they've watched it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is normal. In a weird way.
It is.
Until disaster strikes,
it's
you
all
will
normal.
keep making mistakes. You'll keep fucking up. You're a drunk kid who's never had consequences. I'm talking about the other guys, too.
All of them.
Yeah. They were all in a fantasy world.
Yeah, they
that
were all,
didn't exist.
They were in a bubble. Now, things devolved quickly once they got back out on the water. Paul began driving in circles just to annoy his friends, and when Morgan finally confronted him, he slapped her, spat on her, and called her a fucking whore. This stunned everyone into silence momentarily because they knew better than to push back when Paul was this drunk.
It's just like on the idea that his buddies wouldn't just fucking knock him in the mouth.
Yeah.
Being like, fuck, like just for
You outnumber him, he wouldn't even remember you did it.
No, dude. Like the idea that they didn't just chop him across the face.
Also, you beat
Unbelievable
the
to me.
shit out of him right now. Everyone's still alive.
And it ends. And it might end. That might be the ass beating that little shit needs to get.
Yep.
No, it's not going to end. He's just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, until you beat him to death eventually. That's the idea.
You can shoot him in front of a bunch of dogs.
Yeah. God, how lucky was Alec? Everybody wanted to kill Paul, and he got to do it.
He was the
Another
one.
thing that he stole from everyone in that county.
Unfair.
Well, finally, at 2:20 a.m., Mallory reportedly told Paul that he was being fucking stupid. Paul stared daggers at Mallory, then slammed the boat's throttle all the way down while heading straight towards the bridge ahead. Everyone screamed as the boat hit the bridge's wood pilings. 3 of the passengers slammed into the boat's boards, while Paul, Anthony Cook, and Mallory Beach were all ejected into the water. While half of them lay bleeding and screaming in the boat, Paul and Anthony made their way to shore. Mallory Beach, however, was nowhere to be found. Now, Connor Cook found a working phone within 15 minutes and called 911 despite having a broken jaw. When the paramedics finally arrived and treated the other kids, most of them were screaming about finding Mallory, especially her boyfriend Anthony. The only one who wasn't freaking out was Paul Murdaugh, who just smiled and laughed at the entire situation. Anthony, of course, reacted badly to this. He lunged at Paul, yelling that his girlfriend was fucking gone.
Too little, too late.
And after that, Anthony was put in a cruiser, where he told deputies that the boy who'd been driving that boat that night was Alex Murdaugh's son. So good fucking luck. The deputies, however, had already been informed exactly who Paul was, by who else but Paul himself. Even though Paul reeked of alcohol after having no less than 19 drinks, that's estimated 19 drinks.
Bare minimum.
And even though it took 4 paramedics and 2 deputies to get Paul into an ambulance, and even though a girl was missing and presumed dead, no one at the scene gave Paul a field sobriety test. They did, however, let Paul borrow a phone so he could call his grandfather, Randy III, the same grandfather who'd shown up at Stephen Smith's murder scene 4 years earlier when Buster was suspected. Paul had always called Randy III when he was in trouble.
Because he was super close to his grandfather.
He was. And on this night, Paul explicitly told his grandfather that it had been Cotton Top who'd been driving. Because already the blame was starting to shift off of the Murdaughs.
Fucking Cotton Top, still such a cuck that he thinks that Paul is innocent. He's all like all of this shit.
No, not him.
The guy that's the guy in the Netflix documentary that I believe is Connor is the one that's all like, you don't know Paul.
No,
You
that's
don't know-"
Anthony.
Yeah.
That's a different one. It's not necessarily that he thinks he's innocent.
You don't know Paul. You don't know the real Paul. And it's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's not that he thinks he's innocent. He's just, I think he just doesn't want to let himself feel all of it fully.
I get it. Yeah. It won't take till later on when he does something bad his own self.
Yeah,
if he doesn't check those emotions. So.
Yeah.
You know, also when someone gets murdered, you kind of create a new opinion about them and stuff because you feel bad about what happened to them and shit like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, Cotton Top is quite angry in the documentary.
As he should be,
he's the one that's still got the huge scar on his
the guy,
face.
okay,
Yeah.
Also, if he's this drunk and he was that hard to get into the cop car, I really am pushing for he was on a lot of cocaine. I really think this kid was doing coke out the fucking wazoo.
Dude, have you never seen somebody just alcohol? We forget just how powerfully
the amount of
destructive
cocaine
alcohol
I
is.
saw going through all those good old boys in Tallahassee. I mean, it's just
possible. You know, I'm not going to say it against him. I just feel like he would know how to get cocaine if he wanted it.
It's possible. Now, both Randy III and Alex Murdaugh knew that Paul was lying about who'd been driving that night because Murdaughs did not give up control. So they arrived at the hospital at around 3 a.m. in full damage control mode. Instead of asking about the whereabouts of Mallory Beach or even the condition of the other kids, Alex Murdaugh went from room to room to tell all the other boat passengers that when the investigators asked them who was driving, it'd be a good idea if they just said, "I don't know."
He's just saying it out loud in a hospital with cameras and all this. Just like they're just walking. This is how much power they had.
Yeah.
They're just walking in and out. They're saying like Alex Murdaugh's not a doctor. He's walking in and out all these rooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only room Alec couldn't get into was the one holding Paul's on-again, off-again girlfriend, Morgan Dowdy. When Morgan saw Alec's terrifying red-headed potato face peering into the window of her hospital room, she told the nurse, keep that man as far away from me as possible. Because Morgan, she'd been dating Paul on and off for a few years. She knew exactly how the Murdaugh family worked.
But even her thing, when she can't even keep it like, and I still was shocked when it was Mr. Alec. And it's like, this fucking Southern thing. It's just they're all still calling him Mr. Alec and all these things like he's not a fucking double murderer. It's just like he's not the Papu guy you knew. I'm sorry, he's not that guy. He never was.
Yeah, but still, it's hard to get that out. It's hard to change your view of somebody.
I get it.
You know, after we don't have the, we don't have the same.
What is it?
I don't know.
What is the term for what that is? Right? What is the term? Is it blind allegiance?
I think it's going to happen to you, man.
Yeah.
You know, you wish that it didn't, but it did. And it's so crazy. It's
they
a
talk
story
about him.
you read about. It's not something that happens in your life, especially when you're so brought up like they are.
They just talk about him like the people out of Scientology talk about LRH.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely some indoctrination there.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely like those people were raised their entire lives to not necessarily
to respect him and
worship
look up
the
to him.
Murdaughs,
Yeah.
but to respect them. It's hard to erase all that shit.
Their grandparents told them to respect them.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I get that. That just makes sense.
Now, the Murdaughs' plan was to keep all the kids from saying who'd been driving, because if none of them said definitively that Paul Murdaugh was behind the wheel, then maybe Paul could get out of it. Alec had also decided that they were going to sacrifice Connor Cook for Mallory's death if necessary, because it was quite obvious that Mallory Beach was gone forever, even if her body had not yet been found. It was actually in the Murdaughs' best interest if Mallory's body was never found, because if there was no body, there was no crime, and it's speculated that the search was somewhat half-hearted as a result. But 8 days after the boat crash, Mallory's corpse was found 5 miles from the site, tellingly not by officials, but by volunteers who had spotted Mallory's bright blonde hair. Now, Mallory Beach could have just as easily gone the way of Stephen Smith. The Murdaugh name, however, had steadily been losing its power over the years, and Paul wasn't exactly the type of person that people wanted to defend. Additionally, this was the third person in 4 years whose death was connected to the Murdaugh name.
Starting to really build up.
It is. Where Stephen's parents couldn't get a single law firm to take their case after the Murdaugh name was mentioned in 2015, an attorney named Mark Tinsley jumped at the chance to represent the Beach family in a wrongful death suit against the Murdaughs in 2019. And as it went, Mark Tinsley's involvement in this case would be the first domino to fall in a series of events that would, 2 years later, lead to the brutal murders of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. And that, of course, is where we will pick back up next week for the conclusion to our series.
Yes. Until he's murdered in prison.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's more of a side stories thing. You guys can take that.
We'll cover it. That's what we'll cover.
Yeah, y'all can cover that.
But wow, they make me angry.
Oh God, yes.
But you know what? I just think it's interesting. I think it's endlessly fascinating.
It is.
I've been interested in this case since the very beginning. I covered it on Side Stories through the entire trial.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just feel like I'm at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I feel like I've
They're
been
finally here.
Yeah, it's like I'm on the curling team.
Yeah, man, you can put this guy to bed after this. It'll be nice.
Yeah. Big bed.
It is a big bed. It's a twin bed, but I imagine he's like spilling off the sides of it.
He's super skinny.
Yeah, it's a smaller bed now. Well, now that he doesn't have access to all the sugary stuff.
He's super
There's
skinny.
plenty of sugar in jail. It's all honey buns.
Have you
That
seen
is
him?
true.
Have you seen him? Super skinny.
He's very skinny.
Looking great.
Oh.
Patreon.com/last podcast on the left. Pay to watch us do this. And also to be there exclusively, to be a part of the chat for last stream on the left live at 6 p.m. PST on Tuesdays.
Yeah, and to see the unedited version of the stream, because not everything makes it to YouTube.
It doesn't. And we are going to have a lot of fun announcements coming down the pipe. Wait until you see what horrible sights we have for you. And go ahead and LP on the left for all of our social needs. Check out our new YouTube channels, LPN TV. Check out Bloodbath, LPN RPG. It is completely out. We're packaging it. Check out you might want to check your current airwaves. Yesterday, hopefully, you saw our wonderful talkback session with all of the characters on Vampire the Masquerade. As you see, we did something that nobody else had the balls to do, which is do a talkback entirely in character.
No, very nice.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Watch the replay.
It probably went fantastic.
I'm sure it
did. I know it did. It's all on YouTube. People can check it out there.
LPN TV.
And this, we are going to be in Philly next weekend. Next Saturday, we're going to be at the Met. You come see us there in Philadelphia. It's going to be a lot of fun. The night before, if you got nothing to do, I'm going to do a stand-up spot over at City Winery with co-headlining with Kirsten Michelle Sills. And I got the wonderful Peggy Leary hosting for me.
Oh, Peggy!
Philadelphia's own.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Come check that out. We're in a small room upstairs. Nothing crazy, just a fun little time to stretch my legs in this great town of brotherly love. Then we're going to be in Austin, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Grand Rapids, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City in 2026. And a whole bunch of dates for Side Stories just got released. Go to lastpodcastontheleft.com and find out if we're coming to you.
Yeah! That's it.
Bye.
Hail Satan.
Again.
Hail Bob Weir again.
Yeah, might as well.
So,
Yeah,
might as well.
Give him one last
He's
one.
my boy.
I got no problem.
Hey weirdos, I'm Elena.
And I'm Ash, and we are the hosts of Morbid Podcast.
Each week we dive into the dark and fascinating world of true crime, spooky history, and the unexplained.
From infamous killers and unsolved mysteries to haunted places and strange legends, we cover it all with research, empathy, humor, and a few creative expletives.
It's smart, it's spooky, and it's just the right amount of weird.
2 new episodes drop every week, and there's even a bonus once a month.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Yay! Woo! Ay, ay, ay,
ay. This episode is brought to you by Opill, the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Opill is FDA approved, full prescription strength, and estrogen-free. Plus, there's no prescription needed. Finally, the days of needing a prescription for birth control are over. Opill is available online and at most major retailers. Take control of your health and reproductive journey with Opill. Birth control in your control. Use code BIRTHCONTROL for 25% off your first month of Opill at Opill.com.